welcome back to another Just 5 Minutes. This time around we're going to look at cross-platform desktop apps, which look, I think it's been a problem, and I say a problem, I think it really has been a problem for a long time, and there's lots of various sort of technologies that have been around. I mean, you've only got to think of, dare I say, Flash, or well, obviously Java, with or GWT, or there's all of these other things that have been around, but I don't know, in my experience they've never really cut it, or it's been too specific in one platform and not in the other, and all sorts of things. But with the way that the web has gone, and again, there's a few of these sort of techniques, I would say, not so much technologies, but techniques where people are stitching together things to make cross-platform desktop apps, things that are not really that flaky, that actually do work. I think if you go on the basis from a Microsoft perspective, I suppose you've had Xamarin, that was obviously more mobile development, but that has come leaps and bounds to be a cross-platform desktop technology, really. In fact, the whole .NET MAUI, and I guess ultimately in .NET 6, I know .NET 5's only just been released as of the time of recording, but .NET 6, I think that Xamarin sort of framework underneath, if you like, infrastructure, is going to be the cross-platform way of writing desktop apps. But I've come across a few things. I mean, again, you've got one thing that I jumped on because of the web development background that I've got, was really Electron, and that's been around for quite some time now, hasn't it? So if you think VS Code, it's basically Electron. There's quite a lot of fairly well-known apps that are based on Electron. I'm sure they've been modified over the time. But I suppose not the problem, but you are sort of in an Electron app. You've got obviously Node.js as the server-side component, although it isn't server-side, it's sat there, but it's the bit that's interacting with whatever the OS is. You've got the Chromium, headless Chrome, basically. You've got, essentially the Chrome browser built in there. So that's how you get around the cross-platform side. But if you're not really a Node.js person, then the thing that I've had some success with is something called Electron.net. It's been around for a while. It's on GitHub. I've got some links in the show notes. But that is actually surprisingly great if you're a .NET developer, and it uses .NET Core. It was, when I tried it, I think it was .NET Core 2 or something that it was compatible with, but now it's .NET Core 3 something. The details in the notes anyway. But the point being is that it really lets you build. I suppose it's replacing, if you like, the Node.js part, or at least a bridge to that from a .NET world. And where I've had some really good successes, I built Angular app for the UI, so I can use all the nice the UI sort of components there. Electron.net is providing me good old C# and .NET Core access to things like the OS and everything. And coupled with, I had to write a GDPR application. Actually, sadly, never went anywhere. But the concept was it had to be cross-platform, but also have its own local database. So, of course, I turned to good old SQLite, because what it had to do wasn't dramatically complex at a database, and there's lots of things that I could have technically just stored as an XML document, to be honest, or something. But I used SQLite with it. There was a bit of fiddling around about SQLite with the portable version, which I didn't realize at the time. But I basically had, using Electron.net, a nice sort of interface. I chose Angular. You don't have to. Could have used Vue. You could have used just plain old HTML. But coupled up with the Electron.net, and as I say, with SQLite, I did actually have a really nice, fully functional cross-platform desktop app working that wasn't too shabby. I mean, it was very stable. It ran really nicely on a Mac, on Linux or Linux, and of course Windows. So and it did the same thing. It had the same look and feel. There was none of this. The control looks a bit different on a Mac versus how it looks on Windows. So that's what I've got for this time around. It's again, there's lots of new technologies coming on board. I know Steve Sanderson with Blazor. There's a cut down version using WebView, because Electron.net, as with Electron itself, is being sort of labelled a bit bloaty, but things like with using web views and stuff like that is coming along. But right now, for me, that's a great go-to set of technologies to basically build desktop apps. So there we go. That's what I've got for this week. Stay safe, everybody, and we'll see you next time on the next show of Just 5 Minutes.